Like, what did that feel like, and how did that change?
I was listless. I was lifeless. What was
Oh,
going on was this parasite was taking every nutrient I was putting in my body. It was taking. So I had no energy. I had no nothing.
hi, friends. Welcome back to Really Famous. You are about to get to know Omar Miller from Ballers, CSI Miami, 8 Mile, and the new CBS show True Lies on another level. You ready? Let's do it.
I grew up in a drought there was like a 14-year drought when I grew up. So it never rained when I was a kid. And then right when I was about to graduate high school, it was the rainiest year ever. It was crazy rain. It was a weather pattern called El Nino. And over the past few years, we've been back into a drought, and now things are opening back up.
Yeah,
A lot of connections. Things are opening up. The skies were opening up, so we got crazy rain and staved off the drought. And now life is kind of opening back up with the pandemic.
yeah, that's great. That's real. Those are all good things. So does everything look green too? Which is, I know it's normally
It
brown.
is, and people, I think people forget how beautiful of a city LA is when it's properly nourished. You know, it's a really pretty city. You can see the ocean from the mountains. You know, stuff like that. Cool stuff. There's hills and there's valleys and there's deserts and there's all these different terrain and whatnot. And so it's really green up,
That's
really green.
cool. And I guess when you were growing up, like when was the whole smog thing happening? Was that
When wasn't it happening? We would have smog days in the same way like East Coasters would have snow days. We would have smog days, not days where you couldn't go to school, but days when you couldn't do PE outside, or you couldn't do, any sort of physical. You
that's
couldn't have
crazy.
baseball practice outside. They would force you to go inside or something else because the smog was so bad all through the 80s.
That's insane. Like that
It's
must have been
insane. It was
scary.
insane. Some days you would come home after you played all day, and you would come home and because you could feel the pressure from the smog on your chest.
Yeah. That's crazy. I would imagine
It's
that'd be
real,
especially scary for parents too, with like thinking that their kids like, oh
right?
no, like your mom, you live with your mom, right? Or is this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I'm thinking your mom was probably like, this is not safe for my Omar.
No, my parents weren't cared. My parents didn't worry about anything like
Oh
that.
no. Oh, are they
There's too
very
many.
like
Yeah, yeah.
relaxed?
There's too many more pressing life issues to worry about than whether or not the smog is going to kill you. I think the smog is a slow death situation, like a lot of other stuff. So they weren't really worried. My parents weren't worried about that.
So
But
your
it was a
parents are
worry when you
big,
got sick. When like if you got sick from it.
right? So were your parents always kind of like keeping you like aware of everything and the important things in life and whatnot? Like were they very vocal and keeping you in the loop as you were growing up and or what?
Oh
What
yeah,
were they
my
like?
my my family is a news family. It's a cross-sourcing, news referencing, news watching kind of family. It's a very big thing in our whole family. And so my father was very big on being up on what's going on. Current events are very, very important because then you can put them together and recognize trends and see how society is moving and the general collective feel and whatnot. He does it now. My dad's 84 years old, and you'll give him a call and he'll say, "Hey, you see that story about blah blah blah?" And if you don't know it, it's like you don't know the pop quiz in class.
Right?
It'll make
What's
you feel
wrong with
real
you?
small if you didn't see it. That's 100%. 100%. And it could be something small or it could be, something huge.
So he keeps abreast of what's what and he expects everybody to do the same, which is
Everybody in his circle
cool.
needs to know as well,
Yeah.
especially his children. He's not interested in ignorance.
So
You
what
need to
is
know what's going on.
yeah. What is he so what is he does he live with you too?
No, 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 no.
Okay. So what is
No.
he up to these days? Besides keeping abreast of all the everything that's going on in the world.
Living, recognizing life as an old man in comparison to my father is more virile. He's more full of life than most people you'll meet at any age. and he always has had a curiosity for life. So now he lives in the desert and he still works. He's a very mechanically minded person, and so he still fixes things, still invents solutions and all this kind of stuff. But recently he's gotten into cooking. Suddenly he's a real chef. After all these years, my parents got divorced, and all of a sudden, after all of these years, he became, a regular Jose Andres.
I love that. And I am a total believer in that. I feel like as life goes on, we all evolve and find new things that we're interested in and new sides of ourselves that maybe we didn't know before. And our preferences change. And then again, also in certain ways, we find ourselves like who we were, like our original, the essence of who we have always been as we get older.
And if we don't, then we're not growing. I really believe that, and that's no good either. You gotta you gotta grow, and the only way to do that is to explore.
Okay, so tell me about some growing that you've done. What are some of the aha moments or like turning points for you where you feel like you really did grow?
I shot a movie in 2007 in Italy, and I was there, I don't know, 5 months, 6 months. I lived in Italy, and I came back a wino and a coffee head and a full appreciator of more simple living and more natural living. And it was a huge turning point because I had to lose, I think, 80 pounds to get 70 or 80 pounds to get in the film, which changed my life, which made me grow. I grew by subtraction. I grew by shrinking, and then learning, being so immersed in a culture so different from mine that I grew through that process. It was great. That was a great situation.
That's
And
cool.
then I got a parasite in Brazil. I think it was 2014. I got really sick for a summer, super sick for the whole summer. And what ended up happening was, thank God, this doctor, this wonderful doctor, was able to find, this homeopathic guy was able to find what was what, diagnose it, and help me out. And it changed so much about how I ate and all of that. There's so many different touch tone moments.
Wait, hold on. Don't
Uh,
I don't want to move past that one yet because like what did that teach you about what to eat? Like what did that feel like and how did that change?
I was listless. I was lifeless. What was
Oh,
going on was this parasite was taking every nutrient I was putting in my body. It was taking. So I had no energy. I had no nothing. It was just sucking the magnesium out of my bones. Uh, it was it was taking everything that I ate. It didn't seem like it mattered. And so I was sluggish. I was down. I had all these muscle twitches going on where it felt like, um, honestly, sometimes in the middle of the night, it would feel like somebody put jumper cables on my shoulders and like woke me up. It was really weird because I was losing nutrients, and that loss of nutrients was resulting in all sorts of suspect things. And so it was such a it was so frustrating because I went to several doctors, none of which figured out what was going on. And you read about this and you hear about this from time
yeah.
to time about people who, either have misdiagnoses or can't get a diagnosis on what's going on in their body. And when it happens to you, it is so frustrating because you're scared because you're like, wow, what is going on? Why can't they find it? So I went on a quest to try to find it and took a lot more agency over my own health, my own body and whatnot,
Yeah.
and did a lot of research. Had to find a doctor who would listen to what I was talking about, who then in turn found this mystery ailment.
So you
And so
found
then
there were a
that,
lot of doctors who did not who either
no,
weren't hearing what you were saying or just couldn't put the pieces of the puzzle
that
together.
was it. They couldn't put the pieces together. And I don't blame them because we have so many, our system has so many people. Like the medical system. I took my mother to a doctor's appointment the other day, and it was an ophthalmology thing. And the lady was so fast, everything was quick. And my mother asked her how many patients she sees in a day, and she said something to the effect of like, I don't know, 30 something people. And that's a lot of people to see, to actually give day to day,
Yeah.
To also give day to day analysis. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And detailed. And it wasn't that she was inaccurate or that she was mean. She was just short. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
And I think that when you're you and you know what it's like to be you 24 hours a day. So when you find yourself in need, it's a tough system for somebody they really have to take the time. And that doesn't fit with our system of volume.
And that was Omar Miller. Make sure you subscribe to Really Famous for all of my intimate chats with your favorite TV and movie stars. And drop a comment about today's show. I'd love to hear what you have to say, what you thought. Was there something especially interesting that we talked about? Let me know. I read the comments and I also like to reply. And if you're subscribed, get ready for more revealing chats with celebrities. I'm Kara. Thanks for watching.